Once upon a time, in a land where snowflakes never stopped falling, there lived a young princess named Ilara. Ilara wasn't just any princess. She was the Ice Princess, the daughter of King Soren and Queen Naira, rulers of the icy kingdom of Glycera. This kingdom, nestled in the far northern reaches of the world, was a place of beauty and cold majesty. The ground sparkled with snow that never melted, trees were covered in frosty silver leaves, and ice castles glittered under the pale sunlight. Ilara's powers were unlike those of anyone else in the kingdom. With a single touch, she could turn water into ice, summon snowstorms, and create frozen wonders that glistened in the moonlight. Her palace was a breathtaking structure made entirely of sparkling ice, and her every movement left a trail of frosty crystals in the air. But despite her magical abilities, Ilara often felt lonely. The people of Glycera admired her, but she longed for a friend who could understand her in ways no one else could. It wasn't that the people of her kingdom weren't kind, it was just that they couldn't relate to the struggles of living with such incredible magic. Nor could they see beyond the ice that surrounded her. One chilly evening, while walking alone in the royal garden, Ilara heard a strange sound in the distance. At first, it was a low rumble, like thunder. But it wasn't thunder. It was something much more powerful. As the sound grew closer, Ilara's curiosity got the better of her, and she followed the noise to the edge of the kingdom. There, in the middle of a vast clearing, stood a creature she had only heard of in stories. A massive dragon. His scales were as red as the setting sun, and his eyes glowed like molten lava. He had enormous wings that were folded neatly against his body, and his long tail flicked through the snow like a whip. The dragon seemed to be in pain, his breath coming out in bursts of fiery steam as he struggled to move. Ilara stepped forward cautiously, her heart racing. She had heard of dragons before, but they were said to live in distant lands, far from Glycera. What was one doing here, in the middle of her kingdom? "Are you all right?" Ilara called out softly, unsure of how to approach the creature. The dragon's golden eyes fixed on her, and for a moment there was a deep silence between them. Then, in a voice as deep as the earth itself, the dragon spoke. "I'm not sure," he said. "I'm lost, and I can't find my way back home." Ilara was taken aback. Despite his fierce appearance, the dragon sounded sad. He didn't seem threatening at all. "What happened?" Ilara asked gently. The dragon sighed. "I was flying through the mountains when a storm caught me off guard. I lost control and crashed into the snow. Now I'm stuck here, and I can't seem to get my wings to work properly." Ilara's heart softened. She had lived her life surrounded by ice, and she knew how dangerous cold weather could be for creatures who weren't used to it. The dragon must be freezing. "I can help," Ilara said without hesitation. "I may not know much about fire, but I can make you comfortable." With a flick of her fingers, she summoned a swirling gust of snowflakes that wrapped around the dragon, gently cooling his burning scales. Then, with another wave, she created a blanket of ice beneath him to give him a soft place to rest. The dragon blinked in surprise, and then he gave her a small, grateful smile. "I'm Iskandar," the dragon said, "and I owe you my thanks." "I'm Ilara," the princess replied. "I've never met a dragon before. What brings you to Glycera?" Iskandar hesitated for a moment, his fiery eyes darkening. "I was searching for something," he said quietly. "Something important to my kind. But now it seems I've lost my way." Ilara nodded. She understood what it was like to feel lost. "Maybe I can help you find it," she said. "There's always a way. even in the coldest places. The two of them sat in silence for a while, and Ilara realized that, for the first time in her life, she wasn't alone. She had found someone who needed her, someone who understood the loneliness she had felt for so long. She wanted to help him, not just because he was in need, but because she felt a strange connection to him, a connection that went beyond ice and fire. Over the next few days, Ilara and Iskandar spent time together. She helped him heal from his injuries, using her magic to mend his wings and cool his burns. In return, Iskandar shared his stories with her, tales of distant lands, of fiery volcanoes and windswept cliffs, of dragonkind's ancient history. Ilara listened, fascinated by his adventures, and for the first time she felt truly heard. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. Ilara learned how to control her ice powers better, and Iskandar taught her how to harness the warmth of her heart, something she had never thought to use before. She discovered that her magic could bring warmth and light as much as it could bring cold and frost. It was a lesson in balance that she had never realized she needed. One day, as they stood on the edge of Glacera's frozen lake, watching the northern lights dance above them, Ilara turned to Iskandar and asked, "Do you ever feel like you're not supposed to be where you are?" Iskandar looked at her thoughtfully. "Sometimes," he said, "but I believe everything happens for a reason. Maybe we were meant to meet." Ilara smiled. Maybe we were. Their journey together was just beginning. Despite their differences, her ice and his fire, they had become the best of friends. They complemented each other in ways they never expected. Ilara's magic brought coolness to Iskandar's fiery heart, and his warmth melted the chill that had surrounded her for so long. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the snowy mountains, Iskandar spread his wings and looked at Ilara. "It's time for me to go," he said softly. "I found what I was looking for." Ilara felt a pang of sadness in her heart, but she knew it was time for him to follow his path. "I'll miss you," she said quietly. "I'll miss you too," Iskandar replied. "But I'll always be here, in the warmth of the fire we've built together." With that, the great dragon took flight, soaring into the sky. Ilara watched him go, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't known before. She knew that their friendship would last, no matter how far apart they were. And from that day on, the Ice Princess and the Fire Dragon remained the closest of friends, bound together by the magic of their hearts. Two opposites, united in their strength and warmth. In the kingdom of Glacera, the ice no longer felt as cold, for Ilara had learned the true power of warmth, and the fire no longer burned so hot, for Iskandar had found a place where his fire could be tempered by love. Together, they showed the world that even the greatest of differences could lead to the strongest of bonds.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the ToonVerse Chronicles family. Turn on the bell icon to never miss an adventure. See you in the next story.